Well, hey guys, back with an update after too long of not giving them to you. It's just been crazy the last few weeks. I hope it's only been weeks. Might be talking about months. My fault. Listen, it's not that I haven't gone. I literally have shot this video in the last few weeks probably 5 times. Like literally 5 times. What's happened though is that um, I would make the video to update you guys, and then something would happen, something would change. So it's been that crazy. Just kind of recap for those of you who are just tuning in now. We've been pursuing a property in the village of Bergen. We're planting a church in Bergen. That's no matter what. That was always going to be going forward. But there was this building, this property that would allow us to live there. We'd have other apartments that we'd be able to rent to fellow church planters there with us in Bergen, or on the rental market, so as a business's mission venture. This one property that would kind of be a hub of activity for our activities in Bergen, in the village. Pursuing this, and man, it was always out of reach. Like we knew from the beginning, it was like what, it was just unreachable. But we just kind of felt leading of the Lord, and it was never necessarily I'm giving you this building, but it was always keep moving forward. We would we'd get a door shut, and we would just say, okay, maybe that's it. And we'd honestly, is this the time to stop? Is this the time to stop? And then another door would go open, and we would go through that door, and that just kept happening the whole time. So many things happened in the process. So many things happened in the last few weeks. Literally roller coaster. Since the last update, the plan was ready. It was a great plan, and it is a great plan. I mean, we got compliments from banking professionals, from business professionals. This is a great plan, but it kept falling outside of the parameters. The parameters of what they would invest in or finance. So we just kept working really hard. I mean, we're talking just a lot of work, and most of that for the better part of a year. In the end, it did not go through. It failed, and that, my friends, was a tough pill to swallow. It was the first time we've pursued something at this level. It's the scale. The first time, honestly, I think anyway, it's the first time I've really thrown myself fully at something. Myself, Rebecca, and I both have really thrown ourselves at something, and it didn't happen. Oh man, that's tough. That's a tough thing, especially when you've built all this own expectation up in your own heart, and started sharing it with you guys too. Of course, the goal of sharing it with you guys was always to bring you along in the process, no matter what the outcome would be. So it was a tough pill to swallow, and in the end, we just could not get the financing together in time enough. Great start capital, but we still had a lot more that we needed to finance, and I can tell you the details of it. The details I find also interesting, but that might not be so relevant for you. What's relevant is that it didn't go through. What's also relevant for you to know is that when you're in that mourning process, and it wasn't because of a building, we weren't mourning the loss of a building. It was mourning the loss of this whole. This actually, if I'm honest with you, the real struggle was, Lord, we thought you were leading us in this direction. We really did. I mean, we saw closed doors, and we were praying for closed doors, and then another door would go open, and we felt like faithfulness was to pursue it to its end, no matter what that end would be. And Lord, really, Father, how does this make sense? How does one and one and one and one add up together to absolutely nothing? That's what it felt like, but sleep on it. I think most things, if not all things, are better the day after, and you look back and you just see how the process of pursuing this building set the church planting into motion. It brought us into contact with everybody we know in Bergen. It was in this initial phase, it has been a gathering place for everything. I've been allowed to work there for free just because these property owners are just sweet, amazing people. They are really good friends, staying really good friends, very involved in the church already. So that's all good. But there's so many things happen in the pursuit of this that you can't look back and say, and truly and say it was a failure. We did not achieve that thing that we were pursuing, but it achieved the purposes apparently that God had set it there for, had set us in that direction for. I could not see it happening any other way. Everything that's come into motion for this mission in Bergen. So the big open questions are this. Okay, is this dependent on the church plant? No. Church plant's going forward. It was always a parallel thing, two processes, projects running parallel to each other. We've actually had 4 Sundays now, 4 Sunday afternoon gatherings. It's kind of a pre-launch phase that we're in right now. I'll tell you more about how that's going in another time. So the church plant's going through. What about the vision for this thing? Now, the visions might take a little bit of another form, but we're still pursuing this. What we learned in this is that the financing we couldn't get together in quickly enough. But we're committed in this whole process. What's really happened too is that the Lord's brought a crazy amount of clarity to, especially to my heart, and what is it that how are we going to pursue this thing in Bergen? And we have to commit to a longer term goal, not only of planning and building people, but also when it comes to getting the funds together to pursue this thing, this big plan to do more than just have Sunday morning services and Bible studies through the weeks, but to have a physical presence, this is the phrase that we're using, to extend the presence of Christ in strategic ways throughout the village of Bergen and the whole municipality. 30,000 people in the whole municipality, not one evangelical church. And so that's in front of us. I'll tell you more about that. So even the vision itself, though it is more clear and it will probably take a little bit of a different form, it's still very much there, and we're just committing to a little bit more long-term strategy for pursuing that vision. But you'll hear more about that too. The other question, I guess, would probably be, how are you guys doing? How are we doing with it all? We've processed it all. It was hard for, it was really hard for an afternoon and evening, and then it was a little bit hard for about a week, I think. But the Lord just lined everything up, and when we're at the deep part of after about a week, how can we even live there? The village is so expensive. There's nothing available. What are we going to do with this? Within 1 week time, after that first week, in that second week after we got the news, everything came together. I mean, like dominoes. And Rebecca, at the end of that week, said, 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a clue what we were doing. We felt like we were just kind of floating out in a big ocean, and she said, now look, everything is decided, everything's already taken care of. So it was very clear to see the hand of the Lord also in that process. We have found another a rental house in Bergen. Well, it's actually right next to Bergen, but it's 10 minutes biking from the center of the village. We're moving there in September. It's really close to where the kids go to school, so we can bike to school too with them. I could tell you all the other things, but just know everything fell together right in the right place at the right time. And the other part of it was in those moments, and this is really a testament to how much this has actually also meant for us. I've got lots of messages from people saying, hey, thanks for doing these updates, feel more connected to it. That's the goal. But we've been on the receiving end of this too. And there were 2 moments in particular where we were just brick wall, what are we going to do? Struggling inside. And then within an hour of getting the news that put us in that position, someone from 2 of you guys in particular at different moments sent us a message, an email saying, hey, I just felt in my heart I need to pray for you guys, and I wanted to send this email to encourage you. The Lord's pleased with you. We're praying for you. We're proud of you. These kind of messages came just at the right time. And these are not everyday messages that we get. We don't get messages like that all the time. They came just at the right moment. And it just was a testament. The whole process, and I'll leave it at this, the whole process has been a testament to the fact that he is a master designer. In praying with the owners through this whole process, she refers constantly to the Lord, the owner's wife, or the co-owner, obviously, as the great director, and that's exactly what we've seen him as this last year, a great director. And sure, there's that twist in the story at the end that no one saw coming. Or that thing that you hope wouldn't come, and it came. But he just lined everything up all across the way. And our prayer was always, Lord, this is what we want, but more than we want that specific thing, we want you to take the wheel. We want you to have control, because we know if you design it, it's going to be great. So, so that's the update. Now that the roller coaster's over, these updates are going to get more regular again. But I just want to thank you guys. Rebecca and I want to thank you guys for praying, for sticking with us. We're still really excited about everything that's in front of us. Very encouraged, seeing what the Lord's doing. And we'll see where it goes from here. Hey, thank you guys.